Yeah, I want to play a video game. Yeah, because I'm kind of bored. I just want to have some fun. Hey, wait a minute. Here's a game I haven't played before. It's SOS The Final Escape for the PlayStation 2. Seems like an interesting game. You know what, this is stupid. This is a terrible scene. I cannot believe I'm doing the scene like this. Isn't there any better ideas? Isn't there a better scene I could do? Isn't there an epic storyline I can do? Or I can play? I mean, seriously, I just walk into the room. This is so boring. I mean, seriously, look at this. This is a fun game to play. Seriously, this is all I do? This is a terrible scene. Come on, are you serious? Are you serious? Yeah. You do know that in your last review, the intro and outro was way too long, so, yeah. Yeah, I know, but this is ridiculous. Yep. Come on, give me a better intro. Can't do that. Why not? Because the writer of the last review quit because he didn't like our complaints. Oh, okay, well, that's too bad. Wait a minute, I was the writer of the last review. Yep. But it doesn't make any sense. Okay. Okay, can you give me at least something? Okay, fine. Since this game is about earthquakes and stuff, why don't you act like there's an earthquake, you know, and the game falls on your head, you know, for comedic reasons and stuff. And then you realize that's the next game you're going to play. Because you want to play something and you don't know what, and then, you know, the game falls on your head, and then you realize that's the next game you're going to play. And stuff. So there. That's all I can do. Oh hey, that's pretty good. Let me just put the game up here somewhere so I can, you know, fall on my head. Yep. Yep. Shaky, shaky. Hey, can you give me an earthquake, please? What? How should I know how to make an earthquake? Well, you are the director of this, you know, episode. So, okay, fine, go back and forward, you know, like there is an earthquake, you know, like, ooh. Okay, okay. Ah, earthquake. Ah. Ah. Hey, why isn't the game falling on my head? Mr. Director. Game. Are you kidding me? I already made an earthquake. Sort of. Oh, come on. Okay, fine. Oh. Oh, man. That was some earthquake. Oh, hey, wait. Oh, I can review this game, SOS The Final Escape. And since I haven't played this game yet, I hit 2 flies in 1 hit. Or something. Yeah, cool. Let's do this! SOS The Final Escape, or Disaster Report in America, is an action-adventure from 2002 and is considered to have an original concept. It's a bit and fell in obscurity and it never really sold. It got announced like a AAA title back in the day, but when it came out nobody really noticed. Bizarre. Let's check it out how original and how great it really is, and if the obscurity is fair or not. Let's see. This game did something to me. It made me realize that good games can be found somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Somewhere where no man has gone before. Okay, that's a bit overreacting. Still, this game is something else. You are Keith Helm, and you are a reporter. One day you are on your way to Stiver Island to start your dream job as editor for the town crier newspaper. And then it happened. An earthquake hit the island, and so does the train he is on. Well, that's bad writing. Well, to make a dramatic story short, earthquake, and now you need to survive and get off the island looking for potential survivors. That's the story in a nutshell. But there's more to the story than the beginning shows. I will not spoil it, so you have to check it out for it yourself. But it is quite interesting to see the story unravel itself through the playthrough of this game. It's not that spectacular, but it's at least interesting. The first thing I have noticed about the gameplay and its world you walk through is how original it all feels. There weren't many games that resembles the same kind of gameplay that this game offers. Well, at least before this game's release, of course. Sure, it's your typical third-person action adventure, but on the other hand, the level design and the obstacles you encounter are very good, and it feels like you are playing a game that tries to be original. It kind of feels like a survival horror, but without the creepy monsters and things. The loneliness, the big city, the many earthquakes. This time it's nature that will turn against you. The random earthquakes are just awesome and well done. You never know when a building might fall on you or the ground starts to break under you. Yeah, it's just great. It's pretty overwhelming and sometimes a bit breathtaking. You never feel safe, and that's what makes this game so good. You really are powerless against the world you walk in. So many destroyed areas, so many ways to progress in the game. It feels like that the developers knew what they were doing. But okay, what is your objective, you might ask? Well, first off, all you must do is survive, so grab everything you can on the way and use it for your own good or for somebody else's. Or both. Yeah. You will stumble on water, tools to progress in the game or get to areas with more handy items, items to help other people, armor to make yourself better with certain tasks, compasses that you can collect on the way, and it will change the look of the compass. It doesn't do much, but some of them look cool, I guess. Backpacks to make your space for items bigger, and much more. The water system is kind of important in the game. That's a bit of an overstatement. You have a total of 2 bars, a health bar, which is self-explanatory, and a water bar. If your water bar gets lower, you need to drink. There are taps you will stumble across where you can drink to fill your water bar, to fill your bottles, and also to save the game. I believe that this water system is kind of flawed. You get thirsty way too quick, but not to worry, the taps are pretty close from one another, so it feels kind of unnecessary to have a water bar at all. I mean, there are so many taps, so you will never get out of water, and if you are getting really thirsty and there is no tap to be found, you can always drink from the bottles you have with you. I had a couple of bottles with me in my playthrough of this while I was recording, but I only needed 1 bottle. So this whole water system feels more like busy work to make it somewhat realistic. It could have been a good system, but in the end it feels flawed and just extra. I mean, look at this part where there are taps way too close from one another. That's ridiculous. You might think I am playing on easy, but I am playing on normal. They should have made the whole water system more engaging and challenging, but instead it feels extremely unnecessary, poorly executed and forced. And before I go on and on about the flawed water system, let's continue with surviving and stuff. What I really like about the game is how good the variety is. Okay, that's a bit overreacting, but there is enough to do in this game. While you progress, there are important choices to make, items to collect, people to help in all kinds of situations, obstacles to overcome and more. Sometimes you need an item that's hard to get by and you need to figure out how to get it. Sometimes you need to build a raft to get to other places. There is enough to keep you pretty busy. There are enough places to get valuable items, but these places are optional, so you don't need to go there. This game might be pretty linear for the most part, but sometimes you can go into places where you can find a bigger backpack or a compass. It's totally up to you. The level design is pretty good and it can give you a little bit of challenge and playability. The level design feels deserted and it's like there was an earthquake or something. The whole world feels like there was a disaster and the level design adapts perfectly to it. It might feel linear, but on the other hand, the linearity works fine in this game. You feel trapped in a world that just had an earthquake. And because random collapses are happening, you feel an uncertainty. What the developers did with the gameplay and world you walk through is extraordinary. Still, I do have to say that the camera doesn't always work in your favor. It's something that you have to get used to. Once you are used to it, it works fine. The controls works okay too. Even though the controls might feel outdated for this day and age. Yeah, the controls feels like an old PlayStation 2 game. Graphics are pretty lackluster. This game was released in 2002 in Japan, and in 2003 it was released in Europe and North America. Before this game, you had a wonderful looking game such as Metal Gear Solid 2, GTA 3, SSX Tricky, Silent Hill 2, Jak and Daxter, and even the gorgeous looking Gran Turismo 3.
Over here.
These graphics look like something from the very beginning era of the PlayStation 2. It's not the worst graphics you will ever see, but it feels a bit lazy. The presentation is maybe one of the biggest weaknesses of this game. Besides the horrible water system, of course. The graphics feel old and reused, like they had these graphics somewhere stored in their digital refrigerators. There's also a lot of slowdown in the game. It happens when there's a lot happening on screen, obviously. It might be annoying for some people, but it's not really a game breaker. It just happens now and then, when there's an earthquake or when a building is falling down. There is also some creepiness to be found in this game. Like I said earlier in this review, this game feels like a survival horror here and there. It might not be creepy all the time, but there are times you might be on your toes. Like walking through a dark subway with risk that the ceiling might collapse on you, or some parts where you feel alone in the big city. There are even some characters that you will stumble across that are interesting and somewhat strange. Some of these characters are bringing some emotion to the storyline, and some are just weird. Yeah, weird. Now, you might ask the question, are there enemies in the game? Yes, there are some enemies in the game. These enemies play a big part in the plot that this game stirs up for you. There is a part where you need to sneak past by these enemies while they are hunting for you and your lovely lady friend. In these sneaking parts, the controls are kind of bothersome. But luckily, these sneaking parts aren't very challenging and you will get past these sneaking parts pretty easily. Well, to be honest, the whole game feels a bit easy for the most part. You get a lot of save points, so the challenge might feel a bit lacking. Sure, I said that the level design offers a little bit of challenge, but only a little bit. For the most part, you will kind of breeze through the game. But still, that will keep the game in a nice flow. Even though there is only a little bit of challenge here and there, it's not like you will get stuck at one place for too long. The puzzles are to be found, but there is not a whole lot of puzzling. For the most part, you will need to find a way to get to the next part of the game. You need to jump, you need to use a certain item that you have collected earlier, you help your fellow survivor, or you just explore. Actually, the game is more about the experience and world rather than the challenge. So, what is the conclusion of this game? Well, it's completely original. I cannot explain this enough. This is one of those games that is technically amazing. Not everybody will like this game, but you cannot blame the developers for trying to be original. They succeed immensely when it comes to the originality. I also think that the gameplay is outstanding and that this game was well made. Sure, it's rough around the edges with outdated graphics and a failed water system, but overall I believe that this game is a bit underrated and that it's a well-made game. With lots of exciting building falling, ground shaking, item collecting, sneaking, lady friend helping, other people helping, exploring moments. An ignored classic. So, how was it? It was fine. Fine? Yeah. Nothing else? A little bit of criticism maybe? Nope. Okay. Okay. You gotta have some criticism. A little bit. Okay, you want criticism? I'll give you criticism. And that's what I thought about it. So there. Okay. Well, you are fired. What? You are fired. You know what? Fine, I didn't need this job. It's stupid, and you are stupid. Okay, you can stay. Yeah, it's fine, I guess. Thank you. It's fine, good. But on one condition. What? Yeah. And that concludes the review of SOS The Final Escape. Hey Mr. Director, do you have an ending for this review? I mean, I have no idea how to end this review, and since the ending of the last review was terrible, we need to come up with a better ending. So do you got something for me maybe? I don't know any endings. Ah. Me neither.